All right, everyone. It is This Week in Basketball with another edition here at Daily Sporting, and we have a lot of news to cover for you. This is a little different setup than we're normally used to. Honestly, I recorded a whole episode for you guys on Monday, but my audio was completely not working, which messed everything up and put us in this situation. But I'm going to give you a quick little 8-minute recap of what's going on this week in basketball. I got a bunch of tabs open just to give you a little bit of direction. First things first, Minnesota Timberwolves guard D'Angelo Russell is having arthroscopic surgery on his knee. Okay, he's going to be expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks right now. This is definitely going to be a big blow to the Timberwolves, who are already not playing good. But I think this definitely brings a big boost to Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley's been playing great so far this season, and I think this opens him up for full blown, baller status. I think he's going to definitely be playing out of his mind going forward. The next bit of news that I think we have to cover here, and let me just go back here, is with Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond and the Cleveland Cavaliers have basically, you know, worked out a deal where they're not going to be playing Andre Drummond pretty much for the rest of the season, or at least until he gets either traded or cut, or bought out, I should say. Basically, what happened is they want to give Jarrett Allen the opportunity to become the starter and play those significant minutes. And basically, Andre Drummond's going to be shut down until he gets, you know, on a new team. I heard that the Toronto Raptors were a team that was really looking at, signing or trading for a guy like Andre Drummond, and I think he could definitely be a nice fit with that team. The only problem is that you have guys like Butcher that's there, that's who's playing really well, and it's really going to come down to what they're giving up because the Raptors really don't have that many valuable pieces unless they're giving picks. And with Drummond being only on 1 year left on his contract, I'm not too sure how much they're going to be interested in doing a deal like that. I think that it could be a very good chance that he's going to end up on the buyout market and he's going to end up signing with another team. We all know that Mitchell Robinson suffered a fractured hand. He had successful surgery on it, and he should be out 4 to 6 weeks as well. We know that Nerns Noel is going to be taking over his spot as a starting center and has been pretty serviceable in most cases. Blake Griffin and the Pistons have agreed that he will not be playing for the franchise until they can come through with an idea of a solution of what they're going to do with his playing time going forward. Blake Griffin has been, a multiple time All Star and a superstar in this league, but he's definitely lost some of his athleticism, which made him that superstar. Now he's definitely a very solid player. He can hit the outside jumper, he can rebound, he can get some work in the post. But it's going to be really interesting to see where he lands. There's rumors that the Lakers are going to be interested in trying to get him to that team, and especially with the next bit of news that I have with Anthony Davis being out, and there is you're looking at anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks with him being out for with a calf injury, and I think that this could be a really good landing spot for Blake Griffin, especially if he gets bought out, because the Lakers don't have many assets to trade, so I really can't see them making a trade that's going to work with Blake Griffin, especially considering the money that Blake Griffin's getting. I don't think they have enough salary to match him, all things considering. So I think that if he got bought out, the Lakers become a very interesting destination for him. But I also think that, um, some team that may look to make a trade for him as they get a little boost. I think he could fit really well with the Boston Celtics, who have some pieces that would be able to make a trade for him. But I don't know if the Celtics would make that move because their team is struggling right now, and we got to see what Danny Ainge is up to, and that's going to be an interesting team to watch towards the deadline because I feel like they do need to make a move, especially up front. But Danny Ainge may just let things rock and just go into next season because, as we know, the Celtics always have a lot of assets available to make trades later on, and if they don't have anyone that they really love, I think that they just might hold off and just wait till the offseason. Any Danny Ainge so far has yet to pull the trigger on any massive moves because he likes to keep his picks close to the vest. But at the end of the day, so far they haven't done much with these picks. Yes, they turned guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown into some really solid guys, and they've drafted well. But at the end of the day, this team is underperforming and they're not looking good right now. And it's going to be an interesting situation to see how they play things out as they get closer to the deadline. Shams also is reporting that Detroit and Chicago are working on scheduling a game for Wednesday. Now, the big news that everyone has to remember for this week is that The Spurs had 4 positive tests of coronavirus, so their next 3 games will be canceled. Charlotte was undergoing contact tracing, but I think we saw that they're more than likely going to probably get a game coming up sometime soon, but we haven't officially gotten words on that. But the Spurs games are definitely out, which is going to hurt because there's a lot of good Spurs players out right now. We're talking about Deontay Murray. You're talking about what is his name? Potel. You're looking at DeMar DeRozan. These guys right now have been playing really solid for a lot of fantasy teams, and them being out for the whole week is definitely going to change the fortunes of a lot of teams. So quickly, I just want to go over a couple of the players and what's going on. So as usual, I'm just going to go over the season. Okay, and how everyone is ranked. Jokic is holding steady at number 1. Curry is up to number 2. We're looking at Kawhi Leonard at sitting at the number 3 spot. Oh, this is season average. Excuse me, guys. We've been doing season total for the whole season, so I'm sorry for that. Let me just switch it up. Okay, so Jokic is still number 1. Curry is still number 2. Vujovic is number 3. He's been absolutely a monster this season, and so far so good for all his owners. Great return on investment. Kawhi Leonard, he's going to be out for a little bit. We're not 100% sure when he's going to come back, but he's been dealing with a left leg issue, and he missed at least his last 2 games. We know that, Paul George has missed at least his last 5 or 6 games. So they're definitely dealing with a lot of injuries with the Clippers. It gives opportunity for a guy like Markieff Morris to really shine. But we're going to cover him more in our waiver wire segment that'll be out tomorrow. Miles Turner's and Van Vliet and Lillard have been holding steady. Doncic hasn't moved, and Embiid is right there. Harden, as we see, has creeped his way into the top 10. I think Harden has been one of the biggest guys that we came into the season wondering what would happen, but when he came to the Nets, he's really showed up and showed out. He's had 2 triple doubles already. He's averaging virtually a double double every night, getting better than 10 assists on all but one occasion since he's been with the Nets, or in his last, we want to say since February. So I think this is really setting him up to be. A primetime option. His scoring has gone down, but his efficiency has gone up. His turnovers are relatively what they normally are, but his assists are insane. He's getting, as we see here, like I said, in the last month, he's been only had 1 game where he averaged less than 10 assists. So he's definitely balling. On the season, he's averaging 11.3 assists. Um, Grant, let's face it, this dude has been playing out of his mind. He's ranked 16 on the season for a reason. Yes, he's only shooting 43% from the field, but he's giving you something everywhere. He doesn't really get you too many turnovers, and he's really solid. Justin Holiday, again, he's out with the injury for COVID, and he should be back relatively shortly. He's been pretty much gone for a little bit, but we're expecting him to be back pretty much anytime now. Anthony Davis, like we said, he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with the strained calf. Now, just to give it a quick rundown of what's happened in the last week, we're going to break that down for you. Antetokounmpo is ranked at number 1. Doncic is 2. Scary Terry's been beasting at 3. James Harden, number 4, 22 points, 11.8 assists, 9.5 rebounds, 1.3 steals, 1.8 blocks. The dude has been an absolute monster. This guy is a guy that a lot of people have been sleeping on. Kyle Anderson, he's been really lighting it up lately. He's been getting a lot more threes, something that he hasn't been doing historically, but has definitely been balling with lately. Miles Plumlee from Detroit, he's definitely going to see a nice uptick in his value with there being no Blake Griffin going forward. So we definitely expect a guy like Miles Plumlee to definitely be someone valuable going forward. Here's a guy that's been really interesting, Marquise Morris. He's been totally balling out. If you look at what's happened, especially since we've seen guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard go out, he's really stepped up and taken that role as being the lead scorer. Malik Beasley is the guy that I was mentioning before with excuse me, D'Angelo Russell being out. I think this puts him into prime time position where he needs to be owned in 100% of leagues. He's definitely been balling out. If we look, 49% from the field, 1,000 from the free throw line, 5.7 threes per game in his last week, 24 points, 4.3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. He's definitely been killing the game. All right. As we wrap this out and land the plane here, I just want to go over a couple of players. Cody Zeller, definitely been killing it. Currently ranked 94 on the season. Only rostered in 48% of leagues. He's a big man that definitely will be able to get you through this rough patch that you have with all the players that are being injured and that are, dealing with these COVID situations. So it's definitely a good situation going forward. Potel, we spoke about him on the Instagram, so he's definitely someone that you want to check out. He's been balling. He's currently ranked 40 in the last 2 weeks. He's only rostered in 48% of leagues, but obviously he's not going to be playing the next 3 games because of what's going on. So if some people drop him, he's a good player that you might want to add towards the end of the week. And Emmanuel quickly is the last guy that I want to talk about, because when Derrick Rose came over from the Detroit Pistons, everyone had expected that Emmanuel Quickly's numbers were going to take a significant dip. Instead, what ended up happening is that Quickly has become, I want to say, almost like a two guard now, and he's really getting an opportunity to get his points up. As you see, he's been averaging 2.8 threes per game in the last week. He's getting 15.3 points. He's only averaging zero point 0.3 turnovers, and which is really solid from a point guard, especially considering he's getting you 2.8 assists. So the assist to turnover ratio is phenomenal. His free throw percentage is fantastic at 100%, and he's hitting about 3.5 threes per game. So it's definitely very solid. His field goal leaves you something to be desired, but overall, the player has been super solid. And if he's on your waiver wire, he's definitely someone you might want to pick up for this little run, and just play him while he's hot, especially when you have guys like the Spurs that are going to be out. I know if there's a lot of top guys on those teams, so this is someone definitely you might want to look at in order to replace him. But guys, this was just a quick little breakdown of what we had going on for this week in basketball. Like I said, this is a little bit different than normal for me, because normally I record this at home, so my whole setup is not what I'm used to. So I didn't even see some of these comments. Uh, yeah, like what's going on? Drummond done like Blake. It looks like it. I'm expecting Drummond might probably get bought out, and I see him definitely ending with the Nets. I see Blake to the Lakers definitely coming. Blake to the Rockets, I really just can't see that happening. I think that there's a better chance of the Clippers getting him than the Rockets on that reunion. Yeah, Potel is definitely someone that if GMs drop him, I would definitely try to scoop him up as soon as possible, because he's been playing out of his mind. He's been averaging about 3.3 blocks per game. Definitely someone that you want to take advantage of. Yeah, James Harden's just been a monster, and you traded Greek Freak and Beasley for Tate and Jokic. I would say I don't know which Tate you're referring to, but I mean, Jokic has been the number one player in fantasy basketball all season long, and he's been absolutely beasting. So it's hard to say you lose any deal with him, but Malik Beasley right now for this next period of time could be a fantastic player that I definitely like going forward. Malik Beasley is definitely someone that if you can get your hands on him, I definitely would. So, I mean, personally, I think that I might like the Greek Freak Beasley side of the deal just because those two players are playing phenomenal, and I'm not sure which team you're talking about. But overall, I mean, I think you can't really be going that bad if you end up with Jokic, who I put above both of them. So even if it was a 2-for-1, that'd be a lot. But at the end of the day, you still get the waiver wire pickup that you can make, which sometimes works out better, especially when you have some of the guys that we're going to be talking about later on and see tomorrow on our waiver wire show. Oh, the Rockets Tate. Let me just pull up his numbers real quick, just because I like to see what's going on here, and we'll end it on this. Jason Tate. So he is, let's take a look at what he's been doing the last 2 weeks on average. He's been beasting, 18% owned, 30 minutes. Wow, Tate definitely has been balling. Let's just see one thing about him. Averaging, there's no indication when those two guards returned. I mean, I think this could definitely be a nice snag for you. And especially considering that most people didn't expect to see what happened with Beasley and with the D'Angelo Russell injury. So I definitely think that all things considering, it's not definitely a bad trade. I definitely would probably side though with the Greek Freak Beasley side, just because Beasley has been so good this season. He's been playing out of his mind, and I think that Beasley offers an opportunity to maintain those numbers going forward, even when Russell comes back, because he was doing it while Russell was here, and even when Karl Anthony Towns comes back, because of his outside shooting and his ability to create his own shot. So I think that Malik Beasley, especially if we look at the numbers since he was traded from Denver to the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's been absolutely phenomenal, averaging over 20 points per game. But guys, I just wanted to hop on real quick and do this for you guys. Like I said, I had originally recorded this for you on Monday, but my whole recording came out with no audio, so I totally messed everything up. But I want to just hop on and make sure that I got you guys covered, because this week had a lot of crazy things going on. But I appreciate appreciate everyone. I appreciate all your time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We answer all questions. We make sure that everyone is taken care of. And again, on that note, I just want to wish everyone a good night. Have a healthy and happy week in your fantasy leagues. Hopefully, y'all pull out the W's, and let's just keep it moving. Peace.